Welcome to the JD Remedy. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the JD Remedy. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Woo! Guys, it's nearly my birthday. It's coming. I'm not turning 30 yet, but it's coming. It's creeping around the corner. I know I've talked about it before, but you know those memes. I think they're on TikTok. It's like you're just having a good time in your 20s and all the 90s babies, it like suddenly goes to dark and ominous music and it's your 30s lurking around the corner. It's like that feeling is coming. I told my mum the other day that it's my birthday soon, and I told her how old I was turning, and she's like, no, you're not. Really? I'm like, yes, mum, like you gave birth to me. Surely you know how old I am. But, she's oblivious. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just young at heart or wise beyond my years. Either two. She didn't know how old I was, but I'm here for a good time. So, yeah. Let's do a little introduction for today's topic. So, I did a little poll on some of my social media platforms just about what you guys want to hear more about in some upcoming episodes. And I did get a few messages or like poll answers about, just friendships in general. And obviously different messages went into detail, but one of the more prominent ones was how to talk to your friends, like how to give advice when they're going through things and how to be the best support system for them and how to do it without being offensive, like, that fine line between whether you give advice, whether you set them straight or you just let them vent pretty much, and like how do you be a good friend and navigate through that. So I thought that was a pretty cool topic to go through, so we can talk about that today. But first, let's get into this week's recs. I've got a couple. Yes, I did clock 2 seasons in 1 week. I'm on a roll, guys. Once I start something and I love it, I just can't stop. It's an addiction. You'd think that I was doing more important things with my time, but apparently not. Netflix is where it's at. It's either that or a TikTok addiction. So look, at least I'm entertaining myself either way, right? So because I've got a couple, I'm going to do one today and then another one for an upcoming episode. So the rec I have for you guys this week, I thought was appropriate. So while we're on the topic of friendship, I thought this rec was, like I said, pretty, what the fuck am I trying to say? Pretty on topic, on par, on cue, relatable. Pick a word out of a jar and use it, Jade. So this rec actually came from my best friend. And I was over at her house getting my hair done because she's also my hairdresser. And she started talking to me about this show. And she is like, babe, you really have to watch this show. I'm obsessed. It reminded me of You and Me. So her saying that to me and me being me, I go into this season critical of what are the hidden messages in our friendship and whose identity is which character and what characteristics or behaviors relate to either one of us in our friendship. And I watched the first episode and I was very offended. I messaged her straight away and I was like, which one of these characters do you think is me? Like, how does this represent our friendship? And she's like, to her partner, oh my God, I think I offended Jade. And she messaged me straight away. She seriously does not have time for my needy drama bullshit. She's got a baby, but she was like, listen, bitch, that's not what I meant. I meant just like in friendship in general. Like we got each other's backs and we've been through a lot and like we love each other. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, should have just said, because I spent the whole first episode so anxious, like, oh my God, does my best friend think of this about, like, does my best friend think this about me? And do I need to be a better friend? And, that usual, anxiety, overthinking, like, what am I doing with my life? Am I a good friend kind of thoughts? But no, the show that I'm actually talking about, which I forgot to mention, is called Firefly Lane. Holy shit. Try and say that really fast. Firefly Lane. Oh, I did it. Okay. That was underwhelming. So it's pretty much, I don't think I'm going to give any spoilers. No, I won't give any spoilers. So like the theme of the show is obviously follows the lives of two best friends. They meet in high school and, you know, remain super, super close throughout college and then their adult life and through the ups and downs and turmoil of just like growing up and being an adult and all that shit. So they both go through some different challenges. One of the characters obviously has a very traumatic childhood and goes through some pretty significant traumas. I won't mention anything, obviously, if you're going to watch the show. But like the traumas and things that happen, I think are super relatable. I think especially for younger women, not only is the trauma relatable, but I think the friendship, like that was my favorite thing to watch, is how beautiful the friendship was and how close they were, and just the fact that they had each other's back through everything. And you know, there's bullying, and I'm not going to mention anything else again because it will be, no, I don't want to spoil it, but there is some pretty intense adult themes in the show. I'm just going to list them off actually, so if you don't want spoilers, just skip ahead maybe a minute. There's sexual assault themes, there's like alcoholism or drug themes, like poor relationships between parents and motherhood, there's cheating, scandalous kind of stuff like that, and just like psychological trauma and behaviors from a fucked up childhood. I think like it's very, very relatable to a lot of people, but it's so beautiful, just the friendship and support they have for each other. Like they have each other's back no matter what. And I just think it's really cool to watch their friendship blossom and, you know, navigate. And I think for a lot of girls that have best friends and they've supported each other, especially from high school onwards, it was just so cool to watch. I think it would be really cool to watch it with your best friend. But yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a season 2, just the way that they ended season 1. But they're pretty long episodes. I think they go for about an hour or 50 minutes. But yeah, clock the whole thing in a few days. So definitely loved it. Such a cool girly movie, I think. Yeah, but yeah, pretty strong themes obviously, so just prepare yourself for that. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. I wanted you guys to check it out. So on the topic of that rec and leading into today's episode, I really want to talk about how to support your friend in any scenario and the right way to do it, and is there a right way to do it, and you know, it depends on a lot of different things, right? So the example I actually got from a listener who reached out in a message was explaining that her best friend was going through a really traumatic time with her partner or ex-partner. I'm not sure where they were at. But the friend obviously loved and supported her friend so much, and obviously knows that she can do better and obviously thinks she's better off without this guy, but she felt completely torn. She said, how do I let her know that I support her and I want her to know that she deserves better, but without, you know, completely pissing her off and telling her how I feel. Like I want to tell her how I feel, but I don't want to upset her. And I really wanted to talk about it because I think that this question and this scenario is so relatable. Like how many of you have had this conversation or been in this situation with your best friend that you're very torn between, I just want to be so honest right now and tell you that guy's a fucking piece of shit and a loser, but I can also see that you're hurting and I know that you don't need to hear that from me right now. So what the fuck do I say in this moment? How can I be your best support system and how can I be your best friend? As you grow and as you develop your emotional skill level, it is a skill set. So first of all, because I talk about this in like romantic relationships as well, but if you can see that someone's hurting or someone's upset or frustrated, I think the first course of action is not to assume that they want to talk to you or they want support or they need your opinion. So point blank, if someone comes to you or you notice someone's upset and you want to reach out, you say to them point blank, do you want me to listen while you vent? Or do you want my opinion? Or how can I support you? Like you just ask. So I think giving someone that option, because half the time, especially being females, we really just need to rant, right? We really need to vent. We need to get it off of our chest. And I don't know if you guys have been in this situation with boys, but sometimes you go on this rant, you have a little bitch, it feels good to get it out. And boys are very logical thinking, right? They just want to fix everything. So they might try and correct you or stop you in your tracks and say, that's not a very nice thing to say, babe. Or, well, you shouldn't have done that. Or, well, this is why that happened. And I'm like, I didn't actually ask for your fucking opinion. Like, I just needed you to pat me on the back, feed me chocolate, and tell me everything's going to be okay. Like, what a bitch. And hug me. So, same goes for your bestie, right? Like, if they're having boy troubles, of course you want to sit there and say, that guy is a piece of shit. He's a loser. He can't believe he did that to you. He deserves so much better. That's obviously what's going through our heads, right? But you have to remember, like, this girl loves that boy no matter what they went through, right? And we have to respect her boundaries and we have to respect their relationship. Obviously, I'm not talking about extremes here, guys, like abuse and, you know, all that kind of stuff. We just want to... I'm not silly. I'm not trying to take away from that kind of traumatic experience. I'm just saying just like your general kind of chit chat, you know, they've had an argument or something like that. So this could even be they had an argument with another friend or their family or at work. They're just stressed at work or whatever it is. You go into it with the mindset of, what do you need right now? Tell me. Do you want me to support you? Do you want to you just want me to listen and nod my head and agree with you? Or do you want me to just tell you straight and fucking put you in line? Because I can do either of those things right now. So like I said, that's the first step. You literally point blank ask them, what do you want from me right now? And if they're like, I just need a vent, like I just need to get it off my chest, you sit there and shut the fuck up and nod. Yeah, totally, babe, let it out. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, you're right. If they're like, oh, I really appreciate your advice, like I need an honest opinion, am I being stupid? Then you can go more into, look, I totally respect where you're coming from. I totally understand you're hurting right now. Always acknowledge how they're feeling. Like they're emotional for a reason, right? They're very upset. They're stressed. Someone just hurt them, whatever happened. Even if your opinion is different to theirs, you need to acknowledge why they're upset. Don't tell them that they're stupid for going back. Don't tell them that, you know, their life is better off without them. We're not stating the obvious, right? They don't need to hear that in the moment. So a little bit of coaching tools here, right? Acknowledge them. Acknowledge their pain. Acknowledge how they got to this point of emotion and this emotional state. And then just give your opinion based on the situation. I have an example, like one of my friends a while ago, you know, her and her partner were on a rocky patch. They either broke up or were going to break up. He was doing some pretty awful things, and in my head I'm like, you are a fucking piece of shit. How dare you hurt my friend? Like, I will actually come to your house and smother you with a pillow. But it took everything in my power to go to her house when she was a blubbering mess and sit there and listen and hold her hand and encourage her and build her self-esteem up. And, you know, I'm not tearing down her partner. I'm not telling her she's stupid for staying. I'm not saying any of that shit. What I'm doing is asking questions so that she comes up with the answers herself. So what do you want to happen from this? You know, what do you think you deserve? So like, none of the answers are from me. They're from her. She needs to come up with them herself so that she doesn't resent you. So that later she's like, I'm going through this because you told me to do this, or whatever it is. Do you see where I'm going with this? You need to empower them by asking specific questions so that they make their own decisions. Like, you can still support someone without telling them what to do. You can still support someone without choosing the right decision for them. Do you know what I mean? So that's how you can still be supportive for your friend. And the most important thing about them coming up with their own answers, or you not telling them what they should and shouldn't do or should and shouldn't feel, is you still remain a trustworthy person. So if they tell you that their partner cheated on them, or they just had an argument and he called her a bitch, or, you know, something happened and you go, that guy's a fucking piece of shit, I've always hated him, blah, blah, blah. And then they get back together, right? First of all, now she's embarrassed because she knows that you despise her boyfriend. And also, she won't trust, Well, she doesn't feel safe to come back to you if something else happens, because in fear of judgment, you know, no one wants to tell their best friend that their boyfriend's a piece of shit, because it's like, I'm embarrassed. Like, I've rammed on for so long about how perfect my relationship is, and now everybody knows the secret. Like, he's a piece of shit. And again, I'm not talking about life-threatening situations where your partner's like physically or emotionally or like financially abusive, right? I'm just talking about little arguments. And again, it's not romantic. It doesn't have to be romantic. It's with another person, a family member, or whatever it is. The point I'm trying to make is, if you don't make those decisions for them, they still feel like they can come back to you and express themselves or cry or let it out with no judgment from you. They know that you'll listen. You'll know that you'll be super supportive and guide them. And they feel like you have their best interest at heart. And don't get me wrong, like, this takes practice. I remember some of the fucking conversations I've had with my friends, like, especially when we're in a high school, when you don't have emotional intelligence yourself, or when you haven't been through the ringer with emotions and relationships or scenarios yourself, of course, your natural instinct is to be like, fuck this guy, you're a queen, you deserve better. And don't get me wrong, you can still say all that shit, but I'm talking about in the moment, what does your friend need? If your friend comes to you and he's like, oh, he really is a piece of shit, isn't he? Go off. It's like, that's your cue to be like, yes, he's a fucking loser. What were you thinking? Laugh about it, make a joke, and go get drunk together. But it's like, if your friend is completely broken and lost, she doesn't need that critical, judgmental shit energy from you. She needs support. She needs you to empower her. Going to a friend for support. Think about it. If you were upset and you went to a friend for support, you don't need to hear in that moment how much of a piece of shit that person is, like the person that hurt you. You need them to empower you, build your confidence up so that you can make your own life decisions. That's what a good friend does. A good friend isn't there to criticize those that you spend your time with. A good friend fucking lifts you up and empowers you, gives you the motivation and the confidence to stand up for yourself. I think friendships take work, right? Especially if they're long-term friendships, they fucking take work. They're like relationships. They need to be nurtured. And there's probably been some shit times, shit conversations, shit support, but it's like any conversation you have in the workplace, in a relationship, in a friendship, like with family, whatever it is. Of course, sometimes we're going to say things that we don't mean, or we fuck up, or it makes it worse, but you learn and you grow. And if you're in a long-term friendship with this person, you grow together, right? Both of you grow individually. So your support and how you need support and what you need to hear will probably change over time as well. But that's why the communication at the start is so important. And if they don't know to do that, like if we're in that emotional state and we just go to our friend and we want to hug and we want to fucking cry our eyes out, we don't know to say, I need you to just listen, or just tell me everything's going to be okay, or he's a piece of shit, like whatever it is. So if you're listening to this and you run into that situation with a friend, then you need to say to them, do you just want me to listen and like let you fucking vent? Like, I'll be here all day, babe. Like, I'm here for you. Or do you want my honest opinion? Like, do you need my help? What do you need from me? Like, ask them. And if they don't know, just fucking give them a hug. Sometimes like not talking and just giving them a hug is the easiest thing you can do. If you hold space for them, they will talk when they're ready, or when they understand it in their own head, they will ask for what they need. I know so many times, like, I don't know what I need in the moment, but I'm just so upset. But just sitting with someone while you cry it out or while you think it out in your own head is all I've needed, and I can pretty much work it out in my own head. But like knowing that someone is physically with you, holding your hand or hugging you or rocking with you while you're crying your eyes out in their lap or whatever it is, you can just, like, even if you say that, like, you don't even have to say anything. Because have you had a friend that's lost a loved one maybe and you don't know how to console them or how to support them? Go around to their house and just sit with them on the couch and watch TV, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you don't even have to say anything, and say that as well, because people feel bad. They're like, I don't want to offend you or whatever it is. Like, I don't know what I need in this moment. So fucking go to them and say, I'm here to just sit in silence if that's what you need. I'm just going to sit here. If you want me to hold your hand, I will. If you want me to hug you, I will. But I'm just here. Just know that I'm here. So think back about any conversation you might have had differently and how it actually turned out. Did you go in there really critical and judgmental of the other person, and was it awkward after, or did they appreciate it? Or, you know, think back of any scenario you have with any of your friends, and how did you help them through it? What would you have done differently? Would you have done the same thing? Would you give different support depending on which friend it is? I know that 100%. I would give support differently depending on who came to me for support. Some people do need to kick up the ass. Some people just want to sit there in silence, you know? So it's really important that the other person's needs come first before your opinion. Put your ego aside, put your opinion aside. What does your friend need in that moment? And that is the most important thing. It's not about your opinion. It's not about what you think is right for her. It's like, put all that aside, point blank to her face, what do you need from me right now? And if you don't know the answer, I'm just going to sit here and hold your hand or hug you. All right. Quick episode today, guys, but I think it's super important. I think just hopefully there's some golden nuggets in there that you'll just hear it and go, that helped, or that makes sense. I'm going to try it. And if you have these tough conversations moving forward and you need more help, or something I said today really resonated with you and you use it and it works, fucking let me know. Okay, and as a reminder, we do have the Facebook group for this podcast, so go ahead and join. It's just the JD Remedy. Let's talk about it. You can find that on my Facebook page, which is just Jade Delpup, JAYDEDELPUP. Same for my Instagram and same for YouTube. So go ahead and follow me on all of those platforms. I am open to episode suggestions. I am open to any questions or support that you guys need. So please message me. Don't be afraid to reach out. I'm so thankful and appreciative of everybody that's reached out so far. I'm sorry if any of your questions don't make it into the episode, but if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I will always answer and support. So yeah, go ahead and follow. And if you need anything else, please let me know. But thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Don't forget about the Firefly Best Friend series that I told you guys about. Watch it and tell me what you guys think. Comment on this post when I post it in the Facebook group, and let's chat about the series. I love it. I cannot wait to hear season 2. Have a great day, guys. I love you so much. Bye.